Hi there, this is Abhivardhan, and this is a very impromptu conversation I'm having with all of you. So, it's been an interesting August. Thank you so much for your love and support for my representation at G20 Brazil, Korea, and other things. This is just a quick message I wanted to share about the state of AI and law trainings as it has been. Now, what happens is that when I help anyone in the technology side and I try to see what are the fascinating legal issues that are emerging, see most of the times, and I think this has been discussed so effectively by people on LinkedIn that and other platforms, that most of the legal issues around AI or digital technologies stem around two to three major problems. First is, of course, how contracts work, because contracts are crazy. Second is intellectual property, so trade secrets, patentability, copyright. We don't exactly know how they affect us, because in many cases it's very either shady or unclear, or something which is a new territory. And when you go to the third one, it is actually corporate governance, because corporate governance actually differs, be it proprietary algorithms or open source algorithms or open source data, right? And even in that case, for open source at the level of a larger MNC, could have a very different contextual aspect, legally speaking, as opposed to an open source developers community, maybe in Bengaluru or I don't know, Seattle or Singapore, right? So that wider difference happens simply because that whether it is open source or proprietary, a lot of context around the use of digital technologies change. And you can't have governments coming up with random regulations in every 6 weeks or 8 weeks, because in those 6 or 8 weeks, we have seen since mid 2022, or let us say the time when the Ukraine war situation, because that's the time when ChatGPT 3.5 became mainstream so much. And it was that time when we saw the advent of this thing that, AI can do everything, because the discussion was hyping up, but it just reached a pinnacle because of the craze we had with chatbots and everything. That is also the time when sane minds like Gary Marcus and many other people rose up against this kind of hype. That being said, I've seen across the internet that there have been, in the name of generative AI and law, there have been so many courses and training programs. I'm not going to name anyone, but it seems that these kind of training programs or courses which come up, they largely focus on teaching how to use these large language models. But the funny part with that is you don't even know how these large language models work, right? Because at the end of the day, they're not effective. And in most cases, it happens. Even in the field of law, it depends what kind of a legal tech use case are you using, whether it is in mediation or case management. Some B2B solutions are brilliant and they are awesome for law firms and chambers. But beyond that, you just can't use LLMs all the time for certain things, because at the end of the day, they're not necessarily effective. They might be helpful for a technology team to pitch to a potential investor, but it doesn't mean that it actually teaches you about AI and law. And I think most of the times this problem or anomaly happens when people just share anything in the name of generative AI and law, even in India, and they try to sell these programs and things which are not effective. So in that regard, I have been trying to develop some training programs for a few years, 2024, because I've been thinking that, okay, if some training program could be possible to be achieved, then what it could be. And turns out that intellectual property and AI and corporate governance and AI are those two aspects of intersectional areas, those two issues which actually affect technology teams so deeply. And while I have not covered semiconductors, because I don't understand semiconductors deeply, I am very sure that I've covered most of the intellectual properties with respect to AI, from trademarks to industrial designs and trade secrets. And in corporate governance, I've tried to cover bits of contract law, bits of commercial liability, civil liability, and criminal liability, and also certain other aspects of corporate governance which might be important, like responsible AI explainability, and the most important of them, artificial intelligence hype, because AI hype is actually affecting us largely. So in that regard, I think there needs to be a sense of balance around this, but I don't think we have seen this yet. So I think that needs to change, which is why this was just an impromptu video, unprepared video, nothing special announcement, but more around this aspect that as you have supported my independent journey by being nice and understanding what I do, even to the technology teams, you should have a look at the AI and law training programs available on indicpacific.com/train, which are on AI and law. And believe me, they are very simple notes in the basic crisp manner possible. I've tried to keep it as reasonable as possible so that everyone understands. Even if you're not from the legal background or corporate law background, you will be easily to understand the notes. And the method is very Socratic. You can come and ask questions. You can take appointments with me anytime, and you can actually discuss anything that you consider is dumb or naive or not necessary to be asked. Because the idea with us is we want to build systems for you. And a lot of building of systems for potential AI companies or technology companies using AI or any technology, that actually circles around the possibility as to, if a regulation is not here, what could be an effective practice that could be achieved? What could be an assured practice for the market itself, and how could you defend your company's practices internally? And this could work even in future compliance efforts. So in that regard, the training programs were developed, and due to some travel delays and many other engagements, I've not been able to talk or promote about my training programs very effectively since mid. But yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about my training programs which I've developed at Indic Pacific Legal Research. You can go to indicpacific.com/train, and you can actually look at all the training programs we have. The syllabus is enormous. You have 15 to 16 lectures. Content is written. You don't need to watch videos. You just need to understand the problem. And whatever dumb or best or advanced level problem you have, you just have to come. And yeah, there are possibilities that if you have a bulk of people or a group of people in technology teams, then we also offer certain discounts, and we can actually talk about that later. But I think the idea is not about discounts, but more about helping people solving these problems, because a lot of practices are not going to be regulated very soon, and therefore it will create a sense of confusion. Therefore, it is important for our SMEs, research labs, and startups in India, and even beyond. We are also open to foreign entities who actually want to learn more about this. So in that regard, I hope this impromptu video has been helpful. I've been waiting for this. I think the launch hasn't happened yet. And mind you, we are also trying to launch all the AI related training programs as soon as possible on Product Hunt. So wait for that. And thank you so much for entertaining this impromptu video. Thank you.